Hello there and welcome to a brand new edition of Face to Face, coming to you direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo, bringing you Face to Face this evening. I am Manjula Gajanayake for the Newsfirst team. My guest tonight on Face to Face is no stranger to the show. He has been on Face to Face quite a lot of times and has delivered his valuable insight to us and of course our viewers on all things political and also socio-economic and so on. He is Manjula Gajanayake, political activist, a very familiar face to many. A very good evening to you, Mr. Gajanayake, and welcome on the show.
Thanks for having me in this show.
Certainly. So, Mr. Gajanayake, I know you're very privy to and also very up-to-date on the latest ongoings in Sri Lanka. And as we know, I like to think personally that Sri Lanka likes to run on trending stories. One week there is one trending story, another week there is a brand new trending story. A few weeks ago, it was Sri Lanka's debt restructuring deal and how Sri Lanka reached an agreement with the official creditor committee on restructuring its bilateral debt. And last week, it was Piyumi Hansamali's matter concerning her assets and whatnot. And this week, to start off this week, there's a very interesting case a petition at the Supreme Court where an entrepreneur had filed a fundamental rights petition seeking an order to postpone the presidential election until a definitive answer or a clear order is handed down by the Supreme Court with regard to the tenure of the president. So, however, yesterday it was dismissed by the Supreme Court, but I want to get your insight and your opinion on this matter because there was a lot of ruckus regarding this. Many people had a lot of things to say. Some were against it, some were for it. But in your independent opinion, do you think this was necessary or was this just fluff?
Actually, you know that as you correctly mentioned that actually, yes, there are many trending stories. In the middle of those trending stories, we saw that one of businessmen came forward and filed a fundamental right case. In the middle of those, all the stories, actually, this is not something surprise, as well as actually we should respect to the highest court of Sri Lanka, Supreme Court, because they delivered a wonderful judgment yesterday. Even that the judgment also not something surprise to Sri Lankans, many of us, because we predicted that this is a very clear-cut situation, because that person came. This is not the first time. You know that this is the second attempt taken by those people actually to postpone the first the local government election, secondly presidential election. This is just like a trend in Sri Lanka. You know, last decades what we witnessed, actually no elections. Okay, the provincial council election almost disappeared, as well as the local government election now almost 2 years. Even during the local government election time, we saw that there was a case filed by retired Colonel Mr. Vijay Sundara. Unfortunately, actually he passed away recently. Now that the case is going on, and the final the outcome is actually no local government election, and the date of the election also uncertain. We don't know whether a local government election conducted or not. In this case, actually, that it is totally related to the term limit of the president. That presidential term is very clear, because we saw that the former President Mr. Maithripala Sirisena requested to Supreme Court to give a interpretation on his term, and that in that case actually the 14th January 2018 that he asked Supreme Court to give their opinion. Then they clearly mention, I would like to extract what Supreme Court said in 2018 that during their case. They clearly mention that the statement from the 5-member Supreme Court panel, they mention the Supreme Court can review the legislation only during the pre-enactment stage. As the 19th Amendment to the Constitution has now become law, the Supreme Court has no power to inquire into the validity of the constitutionality of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. This is what the Supreme Court said. Now it is very clear that actually they are trying not not to clear these
Ambiguities,
ambiguities actually. What they are trying to do is confuse people, because they can create a buzz among people that there's a problem with the term limit, no, like that actually. In other side, that actually that political parties and observers as well as researchers, everyone are making busy, because actually they have to intervene these cases. That is what they are discussed. That's why actually that yesterday Supreme Court delivered their verdict, not only dismissed the case, actually that Supreme Court ordered to give 100,000 rupees as court
charges fees. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Gajanayake, you used a very interesting word there when you were elaborating on this matter. You said that the political fora or those in power like to create a buzz among the people on certain topics, and that is actually the case when it comes to the presidential election and the run-up to the presidential election, because we have heard so many political representatives coming forward and saying various things about the presidential election. Some have said that a referendum is the ideal mechanism at this point. Some have said that incumbent President Ranil Wickremesinghe should be allowed to govern for another 5 years or another 12 years, and so on. But in actual fact, when it comes to the nitty-gritty that is included in the Constitution, a presidential election must be held. And I believe in 8 more days, the Election Commission will be empowered to declare the presidential election that will be happening between 17th of September and 17th of October, if I am not mistaken. How vital of a role does the Election Commission play when it does get the authority to declare a presidential election, to do so and to ensure that all these rumors, all these opinions are dispelled?
It is, it is totally important as an independent commission. Election Commission's role is so important and vital in this crucial moment. Before entering into this topic, actually, let me to tell something that what you mentioned earlier, that that why that the presidential term and people are that those people are trying to create a buzz among people on their not only actually the presidential term, that on elections and other matters, because in order to take some petty advantage. Then you may remember that one of politicians actually that in UMP, that Mr. Vajira Abeyewardene, he said actually that the our president, that means Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, he can obtain even 10 million votes, 10 million votes, and he's totally secure. Then that is what they are narrating their presidents. Then my observation is that actually my question is, if they can obtain that much vote, huge vote actually, if one can obtain 10 million, actually it is easily he can go through. Then why this is such kind of confusion? No, very easily they can conduct the election, but unfortunately this is not happen in Sri Lanka right now. But other thing is, that in global level, almost all the elections in those powerful countries, actually they are trying to conduct election not on time, before their term limit, no,
to gauge public sentiment.
Yes, because this is testing the sovereignty powers of people. It is part of democracy. What they are trying to do, actually, given more powers to people to exercise their sovereignty as well as listen and observe their opinion. That is but we are going against that that trend. Unfortunately, it is anti-democratic move. Anyway, when it comes to the Election Commission, now this under this particular election commission established under the 21st amendment, okay, because we know that it started with 17th amendment. Now in this moment, actually, it is under the 21st amendment, okay. Then this 21st amendment introduced by the parliament in post-Aragala situation.
Right.
Okay, it is a one of foremost request made by people that engage in youth uprising.
Yes, yes.
Then, I mean, comparing with other election commission members, actually these members have I mean, more not only powerful, actually more responsible duty to deliver in this special occasion. I mean, the problem is that whether they are willing to exercise their own powers in this crucial moment. I have doubts in my mind, because actually you know that this is the correct time to hold the LPTA Pradesh Sabha election, not presidential election, not any other election. Now they have a time, because that alone actually only the LPTA Pradesh Sabha at that time 2018 actually there was a local government election island wide, but due to legal matters actually they didn't conduct the LPTA Pradesh Sabha election. Now it is time to conduct the election.
It used to be Bentara LPTA.
Yeah, but unfortunately they are not. They have not called for elections for LPTA Pradesh Sabha. Unfortunately,
right.
Then we already requested them to call for elections, but still we can't. They have a correct positive move to conduct the election. In this occasion, as you correctly mentioned, actually, the campaign period will be the maximum campaign period will be 63 days for the presidential election, while 44 minimum days during the campaign period. In between 44 to 63 days, they can exercise their powers and also decide the date for the election. Then I strongly believe, though they are not willing to conduct that the election for that small localities, actually they will use their powers after next week, actually 17th July, because they have powers. But unfortunately, right now, not only the campaign, now you know that most of political parties, especially ruling party, has started their election campaign. During that election campaign, I can't see that election commission has taken a proactive measure, because recently that some of governors has appointed a special representative into central province as well as southern province, and other provincial governors also trying to appoint some of special representatives. But unfortunately, what I see, that election commission already has written some letters to them, but what we requested them, don't exchange such letters, it will take more time. It is so vital writing letters, but as well as using their powers, actually they can convene, at least not governors, their secretaries to the election commission. Otherwise they will violate election laws. That is what they are doing right now, because we are in a active election campaign period of local government. Due to that, election commission can exercise their powers, but what we are not seeing right now.
Although the local government election, which was called last January, was postponed from March to April, and thereafter it was not suspended. It is still remained in a postponed state. Am I right?
Yes.
And that means that we are still effectively under election laws.
Definitely.
Under the authority of the election commission. So doesn't that hinder political parties from engaging in development projects or distributing funds and whatnot? But over that period, we have seen the government engaging in the Aswasuma scheme. We have seen the government engaging in the Urumaya scheme to hand over freehold deeds to some of the citizens in the country. So isn't this a stark violation of election laws? Can any sort of action be taken regarding this, particularly given the fact that Sri Lanka is still under election laws?
Ensuring, the conducting free and fair elections, election commission has more powers. Right. According to the constitution of 103 and 104. As well as actually through the 21st amendment, they have received more powers, even on not only government media, now even private media also actually. Then they can will coordinate matters with media, as well as additionally to powers that they are vested with the actually that the public misusing of public property.
Right.
On the date, actually, as I remember, the 4th January this last year, actually, this year they have published that orders related to the local government election, as well as they have published a gazette notification on 5th January.
Right.
According to additionally to these two documents actually they can use the local government election ordinance as well as the constitution of Sri Lanka.
Right.
Those more powerful laws are there, well stipulated, as well as actually they can exercise their powers at any time as they wish. But what we can see, as you correctly mentioned, yes, there are many development projects are going on. Someone can argue that what the hell that there are many elections time that
is gaining an undue advantage.
Yes. Then and also there's another argument that government front making that yes, there are many election time period campaign. Then are we not implementing some development projects?
Right.
But the answer is that actually that there's a well formulated bureaucrats are there. Then through that bureaucracy and ministries and there are many state agencies like authorities, board, actually they can implement any of development work according to using their government and semi-government agencies. But unfortunately what they are doing, as you mentioned, that yes, they are distributing deeds as well as they are distributing some of job applications as well as actually they are doing many more things right now. Then what is going on? What the election commission roles in this crucial matters? Number one, they can use in three ways. Number one, they can write letters mentioning their legal powers vested with them to those politicians as well as other people.
Right.
Okay, and secondly, they can write letters to that the public service commission as well as their main ministry, that the Ministry of Administration.
Right.
To take action against those officials.
Right.
Okay. Then thirdly, what they can do, the people who violate election laws, they can summon before them.
Right.
But unfortunately, what they can even right now, after they met some of opposition party politicians, only they issued a letter. After issuing that letter, actually as observers we have requested them to, it is not enough, then please summon them. Then at least actually at least election commission can show their powers. Because that the development process are going on, that politicians, some of political ruling party, maybe they are thinking that election commission is not taking any actions, that we can do
whatever they please.
Yes. But unfortunately that is the situation. Then that the election commission, that there's a hybrid, not only officials, that some of members representing civil society, academia,
yes,
as well as right now, as well as that the one of persons from legal draftman department earlier. Then there's a wonderful combination of members in the election commission. Then they can discuss and they can exercise their powers. But what we right now, actually the observe right now, my honest observation is that they are not exercising their powers correctly right now.
Right. So, according to law, the election commission will be empowered to declare the presidential election in just over a week, about 8 days.
Yes.
So, do you believe that the election commission, when that day does roll over, the election commission will do the right thing, come forward and say, yes, the presidential election will be held, the presidential election will be held on the stipulated date, and dispel all those rumors? Do you personally believe, as an independent commission, that the election commission, based on its track record, will do such thing?
Jamal, my personal idea is that that in procedures and exercising their powers related to such kind of matters, especially procedures, that conducting elections on using those procedures and other instruments, actually election commission is great. They have used their powers and they have conducted elections correctly in past, except few elections. Okay, that is my observation. But this election is very crucial. But it also actually I can observe that the local government election and provincial council elections, rather than those two elections, actually that parliamentary elections as well as the presidential elections and referendums. Those three specific elections are well included and interpreted in our 1978 Constitution.
Right.
Therefore, conducting elections and doing all the related work in that matter actually very crucial, and election commission has constitutionally empowered.
Right.
Then I mean they can't miss any of duty.
Right.
Actually they have to enter into those matters in a grand level.
Yes.
Therefore my understanding is actually even not right now, even last month I saw that they have issued a special media statement telling that we are ready to call elections once they have empowered after the mid of July right now. My understanding is that they will call elections, they will notify the date of the elections, and they will conduct the election in traditional level. But my observation is that actually beyond that, I mean in the global trends, I mean considering the global trends as well as the observing the local trends actually, I mean election commission should be proactive in this case. Okay, what kind of things they can do? Actually AI will be in this scene, AI will play a crucial role,
yes,
as well as other social media platforms. Then they should be empowered in that case. Then they have to do many more homework, as well as election dispute resolutions. Okay, they should have a complete comprehensive unit to tackle these issues. Not only that, actually they have to take actions. As you mentioned correctly, considering what they are doing right now related to the local government elections, actually I can't see that they are ready to take actions.
So my guest this evening is Manjula Gajanayake, a political analyst and also a very vocal figure in Sri Lanka's social strata. We will cross over for a short commercial break, but stay tuned, we will be right back.
Newsfirst, face to face with Jamal Ratnayaka.
Voice Kids Kiruladino Aslam Roshange Palamu Geetaya Spotify Apple Music YouTube Batalo Obage Priyatama Sangeeta Sevawan Haraha Rosavidinna Jangamudurakatana Jale Osse Obe ringtone එක ලෙසද activate කරගත හැක.
Entertainments.
ගෙදර මිනිස්සු ගෙනල්ලා දුක කියලා උන්ව චණ්ඩි කරලා මට පාට් එක දැම්මයි කියලා වට ලැබෙන දෙයක් නෑ මට නැති වෙන දෙයක් නෑ සමහර. අන්න ඒකින්ද මේ සෙල්ල මෙතන නතර වෙන්න ඕන.
උඹේලා ඇස්සිය දැන් මාව අයින් කරලා රට්ටු විනාශලා මේ ඉංගන්නත් එක රෙදි මොලවත්තට යන්නද?
දැන් ඉතින් දෙයියනේ කියලා මේ ඔක්කොම අමතක කරලා මේ වැඩේ වැහෙන්නත් එක්ක අනිත් වැඩේට බහින්න ඕන.
මේ එක කොනකින් පත්තු වෙලා නිවා ගන්න බැරුව දඟලද්දී අනිත් කොනත් ගිනි තියාගන්න අපි පිස්සෝද?
කියා දෙන්න ආදරේ තරම් අද රාත්‍රියට ඉදියට
සිරස ටෙලිතිරයෙන්.
If you want to create your life, create it. This is your opportunity to change your destiny. සඳහි දක්ෂිණ ද්‍රවයට ගොඩ පැසූ අතර මේ ඔවුන්ගේ චන්ද්‍ර ගවේෂණයේ පළමු මෙහෙයුමයි. Bring us this Witness Season 4 Saturday
at 6:30 p.m. on TV1.
We live in a world of progress, but what if progress isn't reaching everyone? Millions of Sri Lankans struggle without access to clean water, safe roads and bridges to a better life. But you have reached out. You have touched their lives. Thank you, Sri Lanka, for making Gammadda the most impactful rural development movement in our nation. Gammadda, for the people, by the people.
කොහෙ ගියත් කමන්නේ මගේ දරුවා හොඳට බලා ගන්න.
good luck කිව්වේ? විභාගයකටද යන්නේ? ඔව් එහෙමයි කියලා හිතා ගන්නකො.
Do you like it?
හා
ඔයා මට ගොඩක් ස්පෙෂල් කෙනෙක් ඉම්ලේ. අද රාත්‍රී 9:30ට සිරස ටෙලිතිරයෙන්. නීල පබලු අද රාත්‍රී 9ට සිරස ටෙලිතිරයෙන්.
ගෙදර මිනිස්සු ගෙනල්ලා දුක කියලා උන්ව චණ්ඩි කරලා මට පාට් එක දැම්මයි කියලා ඔයාලට ලැබෙන දෙයක්වත් නැහැ. මට නැති වෙන දෙයක්වත් නැහැ සමන්ත. අන්න ඒකින්ද මේ සෙල්ලම් මෙතන නතර වෙන්න ඕන.
උඹේලා ඇස්සිය දැන් මාව අයින් කරලා රට්ටු විනාශලා මේ ඉගන්නත් එක රෙදි මොලවත්තට යන්නද?
දැන් ඉතින් දෙයියනේ කියලා මේ ඔක්කොම අමතක කරලා මේ වැඩේ වැහෙන්නත් එක්ක අනිත් වැඩේට බහින්න ඕන.
මේ එක කොනකින් පත්තු වෙලා නිවා ගන්න බැරුව දඟලද්දී අනිත් කොනත් ගිනි තියාගන්න අපි පිස්සෝද?
කියා දෙන්න ආදරේ තරම් අද රාත්‍රී 8:30ට
සිරස ටෙලිතිරයෙන්. Newsfirst face to face with Jamal Ratnayaka.
Welcome back to Face to Face. My guest tonight is Manjula Gajanayake, and we have been having a very interesting conversation, especially regarding Sri Lanka's elections, the political scene, and the role of the Election Commission, an independent commission in Sri Lanka, with regard to how elections must be conducted and how big a role that it plays. Mr. Gajanayake, before we crossed over for the commercial break, you mentioned the power of social media and the influence of AI. How large of a role will those two factors play during an election season? And you mentioned that the Election Commission must be equipped to answer to election dispute resolution related matters. How best can the Election Commission equip itself when it does, if and when it does announce the presidential election under election laws, to answer to election dispute related resolution related matters, and also a very big influence that is social media and artificial intelligence?
Definitely. Jamal, in this case, actually, let me to mention that you know that this election maybe because we were expecting that we can be testing these things during the local government election. Unfortunately, still the local government election is uncertain. Therefore, that the presidential election, if election commission is called for presidential elections, actually it will be the testing time for three things. The first thing is actually 18 plus voting, because there's a law as well as campaign finance. Campaign finance law will be testing in this
so it will be implemented for the first time at the upcoming election.
And other one is not only AI, actually, that you know that the social media platform actually we heavily used during last election also, but AI is very crucial. That also very testing time in this election also. Then it is very crucial, as you correctly mentioned, that AI can be they have it has a vital role.
It can be used for good and bad.
Both, because as I know that some of my friends representing some of political parties, powerful political parties, still right now they are doing some homework. I'm pretty sure that they will not use in positive manner, that they will use for their propaganda and as well as undermine other political
opponents,
party actors, opponents. Then but still I am so positive on this matter, because you know that there's a global trend that even in elections that we are talking on climate change, as well as how to tackle this issue when it comes to elections. Then no need some more house to house campaign, as well as cut more trees and delivering more
pamphlets.
Yes, definitely. Then you can use AI. It is number one. Number two is actually you can attract more youth. Okay, that post Aragalia time also we saw that they are technically driven generation. Actually, they need some more technicality in the technical aspect to see technical aspects in elections. Okay, then to attract those youth, actually they can youth political parties can use AI. We saw that how Mr. Imran Khan used that AI during last Pakistan elections because some of youth supporters supported to Imran Khan
because of that element was
yes,
used.
definitely. Actually, one time actually they published 4 minute and 28 seconds video. Actually, at that time, Imran Khan was behind the bar, but they used their script as well as voice and published a wonderful video to attract youth. In Sri Lankan situation also, political party can deliver their message very easily using AI. Even as election observers, we can spread our positive messages through AI very easily. But the thing is that still that the technical aspects, actually the technology is so expensive. Even election commission, I don't think that the EDR election dispute resolution unit they have not empowered to tackle this issue. Because my answer is that regarding the election law, whether our existing election law can tackle this issue, my answer is yes, we can. Because even at 1981, when the parliamentary and presidential election acts created, actually at that time there wasn't that online platform.
Yes.
But right now, not only law, we can issue some guidelines to tackle these issues. Okay, then election commission can issue some guidelines, as well as they can invite all the like-minded people, organization together tackle these issues. It is number one. Number two is that actually, you know that I always believe that election commission and election observers and civil society organization, even media institution, can create some of positive narratives, not counter narratives, as well as, I mean, as much as possible positive narratives on these AI issues. Then at least at least as election observers, if we can identify whether this poster has created using AI, it is a victory in this movement. But unfortunately, still we have not that capacity.
You still have not breached that realm.
Yes, we need more capacity. It is so expensive, then we need human and other physical resources. I strongly believe that through other international agencies, and we will get some of resources, and we will be empowered sooner.
So when it comes to social media, we know, especially during the Aragale and the world over, we know how important social media is in the success or failure of a certain campaign. What sort of regulations or guidelines should the Election Commission issue with regard to the regulation of social media, especially during a campaign period? Because we know there are a lot of vilifying statements and posts that can be generated and just put out by various Facebook or Instagram, whatever social media, but mainly on Facebook, we see how there are random Facebook pages that either vilify or praise a certain political party or a figure, and they post those statements and share those images and whatnot. But they go without any sort of being reprimanded for those wrongdoings. What sort of an action can the Election Commission take with regard to that? And can the Election Commission call for acts such as the Online Safety Act that was brought forward earlier this year to be mobilized in dispelling and also ensuring that verification campaigns do not happen?
Yeah, actually, as Election Commission, as the election management, the whole, I mean the single election management, only election management body in Sri Lanka, they can take many more actions. When it comes to the online safety bill, that is, I mean, I have some doubts in my mind, because you know they have not, according to the online safety bill, they have not established the so-called commission
yet. Yes.
Okay, then we don't know what will happen once established that commission. Then Election Commission can overrule the
decisions by that commission,
by that commission, taken by that commission, as well as actually we also as election observers, you know, our strategy is naming and shaming. Okay, then once we started that thing, then we don't know what would be the responses of that commission.
Yes.
Then it is a serious challenge towards election observation during election campaign period. But apart from that, that what election commission can do, I can mention that actually they have taken wonderful efforts during last few elections. Okay, what they did actually last time, they had a great channel combination with Facebook. Now they actually Meta, because those organizations directly working with the supported to the election commission. What they can do, once you saw some kind of
derogatory post,
yes, they can report sooner, then actually at least scale down, or they can remove those posts. That kind of combination was there. This time also I strongly believe that election commission can do it, that if election commission
does
are
partner
progressive,
up with,
that other organizations, last time Pafferel and other hashtag generation and other organizations strongly
banded
supported.
together,
Even this time actually election observations missions like us as well as Pafferel and other organization can help. I mean, the very first thing is that the important thing is election commission should be able to create that platform.
Onus is on the election commission to create a level playing field for all of the candidates, if and when.
Definitely, Jaimal, the only one thing actually that related to Meta, they can tackle this issue, but related to the YouTube, TikTok, as well as Google advertisement, I don't know how to tackle, because those, especially Google, they are still not willing to deal on this issue, because maybe it is a small market for them.
Or divulge information
that
of
is
their
the
users.
situation. But even in Sri Lankan voters are heavily using Meta, then I mean, at least if we can tackle that issue related to Meta, we can be successful.
Right. So before we end up tonight's show, Mr. Gajanayake, I want to touch on something that could have ramifications to Sri Lanka as well, which is the global perspective. We know 2024 is a very important year for a lot of countries, because it brings together so many elections. There were elections held in India, there were elections held in the UK, and more recently in France. There's a presidential election happening in the United States of America later this year. So one trend that we observed throughout all these elections that have now come to pass is, if you take India, Prime Minister Modi's government failed to win an outright majority. In the UK, the Labour Party came into power after 14 long years, and a new Prime Minister has also been appointed. In French elections, leftist parties with the New Popular Front coalition won most seats of the National Assembly, beating Marine Le Pen and also incumbent President Emmanuel Macron. So there is a power shift, or there is a shift or trend of people voting for the underdog or a newcomer. And it's very complicated, but give me your opinion and your observation on, based on these results, what sort of an outcome do you hope for Sri Lanka?
Yeah, it is very interesting, no, that the global platforms, actually those most of powerful election, powerful countries are willing to conduct their elections, as well as the wonderful interesting observation is that what we can see, those countries like UK as well as France, actually they held their elections well before the
stipulated time
period. Then it is very, I mean, it is remarkable, because their leaders wanted to see the public opinion on those matters, as well as another thing is actually that it is in Sri Lankan situation is totally contrary to what those leaders are thinking, because our public opinion is still some of people are telling that our parliament is actually they have not a legitimacy to conduct the parliamentary sessions, because actually I mean after post Aragalaya they have only powers in parliament, but out of the parliament actually they don't have powers. But unfortunately it is prevailing. That what we can see that the if we can learn something from those Western countries, it's the very first thing is actually let people to decide. But unfortunately we can't see such a trend here. But other thing is that you know that the power shifting, that smooth transitions of power shifting. Okay, I saw that the former Prime Minister Sunak said, actually he apologized and also he
He
totally
said that
accepted.
they have heard the anger of the people.
Yes, that it is a wonderful statement, and also we saw how smooth that power transition was that that at that time, that he's leaving from down in the street, and that Starmer coming in. No, it is those are I mean, it is very simple for them, but it is very serious for us.
That is, I believe, a bedrock of a very strong democracy.
Definitely, definitely. And also that the rise of leftist movement, even Spain we saw that, as well as France, as well as in Britain, what we can see that there's a trend in Sri Lanka also. You know that some of ruling party and some of mainstream political parties are trying to undermine our democratic institutions as well as the sovereign powers of people. Why they are doing that? Because actually they are thinking that in Sri Lanka also some of leftist parties are highlighting in this movement. They are dominating. That is what they are doing right now. Then anyway, we can see that a wonderful observation is that another observation is that some of in relation to Indian elections, some of pollsters and predictions, there were many predictions that Narendra Modi government actually will obtain more than 400 seats.
Landslide victory.
Landslide victory. But the result
was quite in contrast.
Okay. Then actually people's thinking is totally different in this way. It is democracy, Then we also hope that we will have elections, at least presidential election. People will be able to exercise their sovereign powers.
Right. So Manjula Gajanayake, political analyst and election observer, was my guest this evening. Thank you very much, Mr. Gajanayake, for joining me. And since we ended on the global perspective, I wish to leave our viewers with a statement made by the new British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, during his acceptance speech, and that really it really stuck with me, Mr. Gajanayake, and I believe our viewers will also find it very important and will be able to reflect on those words. He says, when the gap between the sacrifices made by people and the service they receive from politicians grows big, it leads to a weariness in the heart of a nation, a draining away of the hope, the spirit, the belief in a better future that we need to move forward together. Now, this wound, this lack of trust can only be healed by actions, not words. Thank you very much. Take care and good night.